So, in other stupid news out of Washington, D.C., let's take a stroll through Trump administration appointees, shall we? And let's
Mm.
start with RFK Jr. over at Health and Human Services. A couple days ago, he decided it was a smart move to fire everyone who was on the CDC's Vaccination Advisory Committee, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, I guess is the technical name. He fired the whole committee, and we know why he did it. He did it because there are the people on there think that vaccines are actually a good thing, and RFK Jr. does not think that because he's a absolute fucking moron. So he has now appointed roughly half of what will be the new makeup of this committee, 8 people, and among them, at least half of those are very, very strongly anti-vaccine. We've got Vicky Pebsworth. She is on the board of a nonprofit called the National Vaccine Information Center, which, because in the spirit of the day, is an anti-vax organization that you wouldn't know from the name of it because they claim they're just, giving you information. He appointed, maybe more so than anyone else, Robert Malone. Robert Malone has long claimed that he is one of the inventors of the mRNA technology that companies like Moderna are used in their COVID vaccines. That's not true. He was not one of the inventors of mRNA, but he is also a guy who has gone on Joe Rogan's show a bunch of times and spread conspiracy theories and has said that he doesn't believe the COVID shots are safe. And then there's a couple of others who are also anti-vaccine. But Danielle, as we've been saying for a long time, they want to kill us. And what better way to kill us than to remove our vaccines that protect us against diseases?
So I also have another theory about what RFK Jr. is doing with now this panel of non-medical, non-scientists, bunch of kooks, which is this. The insurance companies, private insurance, as well as Medicaid, take their direction from the CDC vaccine advisory boards in terms of what vaccines they're going to make available. And it is usually those vaccines that are then covered by private insurance, as well as obviously covered through Medicaid. Well, guess what happens when you now have a bunch of kooks who now say, well, you don't need measles and you don't need chickenpox and you don't need polio and you don't need all of these different vaccinations that are necessary for us to stay healthy and not, spread viruses that are preventable, is that our insurances are not going to cover them if, in fact, we want to get them. That's my theory. My theory is that this also has an economic fallout that, once again, is going to cost the American people money if you want to stay healthy. It is no longer going to be covered under your insurance. You're going to get a bill that comes along with the shots that you need to get your newborns and your toddlers and yourselves are no longer going to be covered by your insurance. You'll be paying insurance, right? And then have yet another separate bill that you're going to receive. That's my theory of how this is going to play out, and how, once again, Americans are going to be the ones that get squeezed in more ways than one. So not only are we going to get sicker, which we're already seeing with the outbreaks of measles, and now, by the way, whooping cough is back. Just
Great.
side note, that's on the rise as well. And on top of Americans getting sicker, we're also getting broker, right? Because our money is not going as far as it used to, and now our money is going to have to go to things that our insurance companies, who already suck, are now going to suck even more because of the decisions that are being made. Like, you want to talk about this country looking like a developing nation in a year's time? Like, that's and no shade, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but underdeveloped countries, right, are so because they don't have access to the education, medicine, science, and equipment for a whole host of reasons, namely colonialism and extraction. But, like, that's what is going to now happen to America that was once again the place that people came to get their medical needs met.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point before we move on. The countries you're talking about didn't do that to themselves.
No, no,
We're doing it to
exactly.
ourselves. And it's just unbelievable that we have access to all of those things. We have all this money. We have all this scientific infrastructure. We have all this medical infrastructure. And our government is now making a conscious choice to throw all that in the trash. So yeah, it's just unreal. I'll pivot now to another member of Trump's cabinet, and that's Pete Hegseth, who faced some questions at a House Armed Services Committee hearing on Thursday. And among other things, he refused to say that he would follow any court orders that might say that the deployment of active duty Marines to Los Angeles is illegal. He didn't say he wouldn't obey them, but he refused to say he would obey them. He said we should not have local judges determining foreign policy or national security policy for the country.
So now deploying troops to LA is foreign policy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. Just making clear.
It's a real problem when, yes, he's a civilian, but he is the titular head of the United States military, and he is straight up refusing to answer a question as to whether he will follow court orders. You know, you want to talk about fascism. Fascism generally involves a military that is loyal not to a country, but to a person or to a regime. And that's what we're talking about here. And you know, he said other stupid things. He said that we do have contingency plans to invade Greenland. Great. That's a real good use of taxpayer money. But it really is the saying that he would, you know, not automatically saying, well, of course we'd obey the court decisions. That's how it works in this country. The fact that he couldn't even bring himself to say that is really, really troubling.
Do we provide breathalyzer exams before these committee hearings? Because I think maybe we should. That would be nice. We just started instituting that. Just curious as if he needed liquid courage before he went to go sit before the committee.